This is Bedtime Stories, Grownup Edition, Feast or Famine, bonus episode 3. When we left off, LJ got some hard news. And before LJ could schedule his follow-up appointments to deal with his prostate situation, he got a call from Regina saying that she needed help with a situation with Tracy. Now, we weren't privy to the details of that conversation, but it looks like LJ is up to something. He and Deuce are in a car headed to Houston on a case. LJ has a client who suspects that her brother is the father of an adult woman back in Dallas who's pregnant. So he's got Deuce riding with him to go and do some surveillance and attempt to obtain a DNA sample from the potential father in the public domain. Meaning he's going to try and collect something with the man's DNA that he disposes of publicly, making it trash and completely legal. When the duo arrive in Houston, they check into a hotel, and then they head to the man's house and begin their surveillance. The first day goes off without a hitch, and when they sit down to dinner, Deuce looks a little upset. When LJ asks, "What's up with you, bro?" Deuce says, "I've been calling Tracy's phone, and it's going straight to voicemail. And when I log into my security system at the house, the screens are all black." LJ says, "What? That's weird. Have you called the PI and checked in?" Deuce said, "Yeah, she's not answering the phone either." LJ says, "Have you called Q?" Deuce said, "Yeah, he's going to head over to the house and call me back." About 20 minutes later, Q called Deuce back and told him that Tracy was at home asleep. She forgot to charge her phone and the phone died. He also said when he checked the security system, the breaker was tripped. So he reset it and the camera should be working now. Deuce was pissed. He said, "She always doing something stupid. I shouldn't have to remind a grown woman to charge her damn phone. What's wrong with these broads?" Then he logged into the security system and verified that it was back online. When he checked the cameras, everything looked fine. The baby was asleep in his crib, and his wife was asleep in their bed. Over the next few days, Deuce checked in on Tracy, but he wasn't as avid as he would have been because LJ kept him pretty distracted. Whenever he checked Tracy's location from his phone, she always appeared to be in the places she should be. But whenever he would check the security system, the screens would be black. When he asked Tracy about it, she said, "I don't know, something's going on with the wiring because every morning when I wake up and I get ready to leave the house, I have to reset the breaker the way Q showed me." Deuce said, "I'll take a look at it when I get back. You probably did something to mess it up. You always doing something stupid." Tracy said, "I didn't touch it. I didn't do anything." When Deuce would call Brianna to check in, she would be so pissed. Like, "Why are you calling me, Deuce?" Deuce said, "I'm just calling because something weird is going on with the security system, and I need you to go and verify that Tracy and my son are really in the house." Brianna said, "What? So what you want me to do? Go up to the door and knock and say, 'Hey, your husband got me out here spying on you, and he just wanted me to verify that you really inside.' I thought I was assigned to keep an eye on her to make sure she was safe. I didn't know that I was part and parcel to you stalking, harassing, and controlling your wife, Deuce. I ain't signed up for that." After that call, Deuce didn't call the PI anymore. On the fourth day, LJ and Deuce were able to surreptitiously get a sample of the potential father's DNA in the public domain. They packed it all up and headed back to Dallas. LJ headed to the medical facility to drop off the sample, and Deuce headed home. When he got to the house, he looked around for Brianna and couldn't spot her. He thought to himself, "Damn, she's good." Heading inside his house, he walked in and said, "Honey, I'm home." He looked around, and everything seems completely normal, but something just didn't seem right. Before he got home, he had already checked Tracy's location, and it said that she was at home. So he called her phone, and it rung on the dining room table. He thought to himself, now why would this damn woman leave her whole phone at home? She'd lose her head if it wasn't attached to her body. Then, checking the time, he thought, she's probably at the real estate office. So he hopped in his car and headed over there. When he got there, the receptionist told him that Tracy wasn't there. And then he asked to speak with Veronica. When she came out, she said that Tracy hadn't been there all day. She didn't know when she was expecting her back, and she ain't had no answers for him. At that point, Deuce started getting suspicious and angry. He called Brianna and said, "Where is my wife?" Brianna said, "You might talk to her like that, but you're not talking to me like that." Click, and hung up the phone on him. Deuce immediately drove back to his house and ran through his house looking for anything that might be suspicious. He went in his son's bedroom, opened the closet, and realized that everything was gone. All the clothes, diapers, wipes, toiletry items, blankets, burp cloths, everything. So then he headed into his wife's closet, and inside, it was empty. Every item she owned was gone. He went in the bathroom, and all her toiletry items, makeup, perfume, etc. were gone too. When he ran back all that beautiful beam footage on the security system, well, the little footage that was left considering how many times the system went out, he realized that there was a pattern. The activity actually captured by the system was a pre-recorded loop of activity by his wife and his son. Tracy had even gone as far as to change her outfits and the baby's to make it look like each video was a new day or a new time of day. Then he pulled up the tracking app on his phone to see where her car was, and it was parked in their garage. Deuce became livid and unhinged. He started throwing stuff around the room, breaking stuff, screaming. When he finally got himself under control, he called LJ. When LJ answered, he said, "Let me find out you took me on a dummy mission to Houston so my wife could escape." Cool as a fan, LJ said, "What? So your wife could escape? Escape what?" Deuce said, "You know what the hell I mean. My wife would have never pulled a stunt like this on her own. Ain't nowhere that she can go and hide where I can't find her. So I know you had something to do with this. You help women leave their husbands like this all the time. So tell me right now where she is." LJ said, still calmly, "Why would your wife need to escape you, Deuce? And how would I help her when you and I were together in Houston working on a case?" Deuce said, "I'll be in the office in 15 minutes. I need to see the records for this case." When Deuce pulled up to the firm, he was 7:30 hot. He ran through the firm doors and directly into Q. Q said, "Deuce, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know why you're so upset with LJ, but I'm sure we can talk through this. I suggest you calm down before you say or do something that you might regret." Deuce looked at Q and said, "I don't know if you're involved in this too, but I'd bet my life that LJ is responsible for my wife leaving me. She took everything. She took all her stuff. She took my son and all his stuff, and she left her phone and her car. And I'm not going to rest until I find them." Q said, "Why would your wife leave you, Deuce? Help me understand. What's really going on here?" Deuce said, "That's none of your business. You need to focus on helping me find my wife before gets ugly." Q said, "You're angry right now, so I'm ignore that. But I'm telling you, be careful how you handle this. Now, I'm trying to help you, but I need to know, why would she leave you like that?" Then LJ came out of his office and said, "Now that's the $1,000,000 question." Deuce said, "I told y'all before we left that we was dealing with some stuff that's none of your damn business. Which is why you should have never inserted yourself in my damn marriage. If my wife wanted to leave me, she should have had to figure out how to do it on her own. She should have never had your help. Y'all supposed to be my damn friends." Q said, "Deuce, all I'm hearing is accusations. Where's the proof that anybody helped your wife do anything, let alone LJ, and especially me?" Deuce said, "Where's the proof that this nigga had me in Houston on a legitimate case?" LJ said, "Step into my office. I'll show you." Then LJ showed them both the case. It showed that Bernie had hired LJ to find out if her brother had a long-lost daughter. It showed various public records that included marriage records, voter registration records, death records, property records, and where he submitted a DNA sample for the pregnant adult woman in Dallas, and the records where he submitted the DNA for the man in Houston when they got back to Dallas a few hours ago. And everything was time-stamped with dates, times, and even locations, demonstrating that this case was in the works long before LJ asked Deuce to ride to Houston. He even had all of the phone records that showed all of his calls to and from Bernie. What they didn't show was the call from Regina right before he called Bernie, before he had that conversation with Deuce and Q, because those calls were made on his business phone. Deuce said, okay, so that proves that it was a legitimate case. But I know my wife couldn't have pulled something like this off by herself. She's an airhead. That day that you asked me to go with you to Houston was the last time that I laid eyes on my wife in person. And that day, she told me she was going to lunch with your wife. And that was the first time in months that she even mentioned your wife. The last time she went to lunch with her, something happened, but she wouldn't tell me what it was. LJ said, well, my wife's been pretty busy, being a wife and a mother, running a successful law practice, helping Angela plan Stephanie's wedding, running across the country on Vibrantly You business, and she might not have had enough time to hang out with your wife. Plus, your wife just went back to work after having a baby. Do you know how difficult it is for a woman to juggle being a new mother and going back to work? And it doesn't look like you've helped her very much. It's hard for a new mother to spend time with her friends and get back to being her, especially if she has an unreasonable husband. Didn't you say you the head of your household and you manage your wife? You said, I'm not unreasonable because I won't let my wife do whatever she want to do whenever she want to do it. Just because you let your wife jet set around the country with her best friend doing whatever she want to do with whoever she want to do it with. LJ said, I'm way too secure in my manhood to even be challenged by a statement like that. Go ahead, Deuce. My wife is a boss in her own right. I don't have to manage her schedule, or her business. I know where my wife is. Deuce said, then call her and ask her where my wife is. LJ said, I'm not doing that. Deuce said, of course not, because she got you henpecked. I'ma call her. Q said, whoa, you might want to slow your roll. LJ said, you better tell him, because he called my wife, and I'm going to knock his head off his damn shoulders.